Strong aftershocks hit Afghanistan after quake kills more than 1,000. Zelensky on security guarantees shuttle as fighting rages in Ukraine war. Death penalty for Indian men who burnt alive wife over skin color. Sudan appeals for aid after landslide kills more than 1,000 in Darfur. Good afternoon. Welcome to Around the World in 30 minutes on Politics and Business Television. I am Fatima Abubakar Oyibo. Many thanks for joining us. A fresh magnitude 5.2 aftershock has struck eastern Afghanistan 2 days after a powerful quake in the same region killed more than 1,400 people and left 3,000 others injured, according to the Taliban government. Rescue efforts following Sunday's magnitude 6 quake have been complicated by landslides that have blocked roads, making land travel difficult. In the meantime, helicopters have been deployed to aid the search for survivors in the ruins of remote villages where many are feared trapped under the rubble. The Taliban government, which is only recognized by Russia, has appealed for international help. The United Nations has released emergency funds, while the UK has pledged £1 million in aid. Afghanistan is prone to earthquakes, but Sunday's tremor has one of the strongest to hit in recent years. The aftershock on Tuesday came with its epicenter 34 kilometers, that's about 21 miles, away from Jalalabad, the country's fifth largest city, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. It was shallow at only 10 kilometers deep. According to reports, one of the worst affected areas in the northeastern Kunar province said they felt a strong jolt. There are no reports of damage or new casualties. Baltic and Nordic leaders in Denmark's Copenhagen are meeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is on a diplomatic drive trying to cement security guarantees for Kyiv in the event of a peace deal to end Russia's war in Ukraine. The Danish Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, in a statement on Wednesday, said the heads of state and government will discuss how the Nordic Baltic countries can ensure further support for Ukraine on the front line and in the negotiating room. The gathering brings together the leaders of the Nordic Baltic 8, that is MB8, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, Iceland, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, and Sweden, with Zelensky to discuss Ukraine's future. Finnish President Alexander Stubb said on Tuesday that progress was being made on security guarantees for Ukraine, but he stressed that such measures would only be implemented after a peace agreement is reached. He further stated that they are making progress on this and hopefully will get a solution soon, while cautioning that he was not optimistic about a ceasefire or peace agreement with Russia in the near term. A court in India has given the death penalty to a man for burning alive his wife over her skin color. In a statement before her death, Lakshmi had said that her husband Kishandas routinely taunted her for being dark-skinned. District Judge Rahul Chaudhary in the northern city of Udaipur explained the death penalty, saying the murder fell in the category of rarest of the rare and it was a crime against humanity. Kishanda's lawyer told the news person that his client was innocent and that they would appeal against the order. Lakshmi murdered 8 years back, and the judgment delivered at the weekend have made headlines, in a country where public obsession with colorism is well documented. The attack on Lakshmi took place on the night of 24th June 2017, according to the court order seen by reporters. The judgment quotes from the statements she gave before her death to the police, the doctors and executive magistrate. Lakshmi said her husband often called her Kali, or dark-skinned, and body-shamed her since their marriage in 2016. On the night she died, Kishandas had brought a plastic bottle with a brown liquid. He said it was a medicine to make her skin fairer. Hundreds of women wearing pink and wielding broomsticks marched to Parliament in Indonesia's capital on Wednesday to protest against police abuses and wasteful government spending. Protests in Jakarta and other key cities have stretched into the second week, fueled by anger over cost of living issues and lavish perks for MPs. They turned violent after young motorcycle taxi driver Afan Kurniawan was killed when he was run over by a police vehicle. As protests intensified, President Prabowo Subianto said he would cancel a trip to Beijing to attend China's massive military parade, but he was seen posing for a group photo on Wednesday alongside Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Before his China trip, Prabowo said over the weekend that he would roll back perks for lawmakers, which is one of the core complaints of the protesters. During Wednesday's rally, pink-clad female protesters from the Indonesian Women's Alliance said the broomsticks symbolized their desire to sweep away the debt of the state, militarism and police repression. The protesters were also seen waving signs with the words, "Reform the police." Mutiara Ika, one of the protesters, emphasized that protests are not crimes, but rather democratic rights inherent in every citizen. A United Nations committee says that at least 21,000 children have been disabled in Gaza since Israel's genocidal war on the besieged enclave broke out nearly 2 years ago. According to reports made on Wednesday by the UN Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disability, that about 40,500 children have suffered new war-related injuries during the war, leaving more than half of them disabled. Child malnutrition is also soaring in Gaza, where a full-blown famine has been declared, to which an estimated 132,000 children below the age of 5 are projected to be at risk of death from acute malnutrition by June 2026, according to the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification System. Reviewing the situation in the Palestinian territories, it said Israeli forced displacement orders during the army's offensive in Gaza were often inaccessible to people with hearing or visual impairment, rendering evacuation impossible. Reports also describe people with disabilities being forced to flee in unsafe and undignified conditions, such as crawling through sand or mud without mobility assistance. Meanwhile, the CRPD said the restrictions are a result of Israel's punishing blockade on humanitarian aid being brought into Gaza Strip were disproportionately impacting the disabled. Sudan has appealed for international aid after a landslide destroyed an entire village in the western Darfur region, killing more than 1,000 people in one of the deadliest natural disasters in recent history in the country beset by a brutal civil war. According to Sudan Liberation Movement Army, the rebel group that controls the area said the village of Tarasin was completely leveled to the ground. This was said while appealing to the United Nations and international aid groups for help to recover the bodies on Tuesday. The tragedy happened on Sunday in the village located in central Darfur's Mara Mountains after days of heavy rainfall. And that wraps up the program, but before we go, the headlines again. Strong aftershocks hit Afghanistan after quake kills more than 1,000. Zelensky on security guarantees shuttle as fighting rages in Ukraine war. Death penalty for an Indian man who burnt alive wife over skin color. Sudan appeals for aid after landslide kills more than 1,000 in Darfur. From me, Fatima Abubakar Oibo, to have a lovely day and bye for now.